Hi everybody, happy Friday. Josh Armstrong from US Workboats joining you here to talk a little bit today about my bandsaw. A little bit loud down here today, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me. A couple of things about this thing I want to show you. But first off, it's what's called a vertical bandsaw. We do make horizontal bandsaws and vertical bandsaws, and this one's horizontal because that's the way that the blade goes here. It goes up and down, makes it a vertical bandsaw. This one's a 14-inch bandsaw. I'm here to tell you it's not the most powerful thing, but it's also not the most dangerous. It's a real useful tool. To start out with this thing, a couple things. We're always going to have a tube of wax around here, and this thing is not a dangerous tool, as I've said, so we can have the real short ones around here, and that's going to be okay with this thing. We also like, I don't know what this handle, it's kind of weird, but we like to keep one of these brushes around here and keep the table nice and clean. By the way, when we're cleaning this thing, we want to go inside the wheel, we want to dust inside the door, we want to get all inside of here, because otherwise it's going to get on our guides. We want to do that down the bottom here. Every time we go to clean up, we usually have this. So say, in here, there's all of this stuff in here. Well, not that this is going to be a big danger, but before long it's going to build up and it's going to get in our electric motor or something. You want to try and keep that clean. So that's going to be a daily task where we're going to want to clean that up. Another thing that's real important is I've seen people use this thing. It's real important. This actually does get into a safety thing. I've seen people use it, and this wheel winds it up and down. I've seen people using it like this, and I'm just going, what is wrong with you? If this is unsupported for that distance, then the blade is going to wander all over. So you want that to be really down close to your work area. Okay, folks, one of the things that I want to tell you about this thing is this table here is adjustable. You can loosen it underneath, and it adjusts this way, and it adjusts a couple of different ways. And some people might want to do some kind of weird woodwork with silly little pieces and make it so that it's not square. I really wish it wasn't adjustable like that, because if it comes loose over time or something and somebody tightens it back up, they don't square it. We like to have it square for what we do. It's more beneficial to what we're doing. We're fabricating aluminum. I've lifted this up really high, and I've lifted it up for a reason. I want to show you, and I realize maybe a lot of you guys don't really know how to use a square very well either, but what we're going to do is that needs to be square to the table this way, and needs to be square this way, and we can then sight down it. And I don't know if you can see across this face, but what I see is the blade here, there's a bigger gap, which is meaning that the table is tipped a little bit, and that it's not square to the blade. Okay, I'll move that back and forth just a couple of times, and hopefully as your eye goes past there, you got to look at it 90 degrees to be able to know. And I'm looking at going, it's not that much out of square, but it's enough that it's not going to cut our pieces square. Okay, so I'm just moving it back and forth just a couple more times, so hopefully you guys can see that. Is that if it doesn't line up when you sight down that, it's because the table is not square to the blade. It's going to give us unsatisfactory results. You're going to think you're cutting square, and you're going to be cutting crooked. Actually, if you come around to the other side here, I'm going to look at it because you can measure it another way. We can measure it this way. So the same is true here, folks. Like this blade here, this here needs to be square to this table. My square doesn't fit in there, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to set it there, and I'm going to look, and I'm going to sight along that. Hopefully you can see me move that in and out and see that this is disappearing before this, which means that the table is tilted down by the front. But you can say, hey, okay, the table is not square. All right, well, guess what? The tool isn't going to work very well. It's not set up right. And it's like, this is simple, guys. I don't want to do that right now because I want to show you a couple things about how to use it, but this needs to be fixed. It's really easy to fix it. It's really easy to do a lot of things if you do it the right way, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, now I've got the blade off this machine, folks, and I want to just show you a few things about it, and that's why I took it off, so I can show you how to change it. And by the way, I'm going to bring it in a little closer to you and show you. Now this is what's called a 1/2 inch wide blade, and it has 6 teeth per inch. And if we were to measure that, I think it's 6 teeth per inch. I hope it's 6 teeth per inch. We just measure and count them. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it has 6 teeth per inch. Now that's what we like here, and we'll tell you that you can get you can go even a little coarser if you have a higher horsepower machine. This one works pretty good. You can also go a little wider. This one's a small one. It's really for doing light work. This is a fairly light duty saw. It's a little bit about the blade, and if you actually watch down, I'm going to show you how to coil this up. Okay, folks, this is how it comes new. This one isn't new, but I just wanted to show you how to coil it and uncoil it. When you let it go, usually a lot of people cut themselves with it, whatever else. By the way, you can coil this thing up, and one of the things is that people seen do is you can coil it, and you can put it inside out. And if you put it inside out, when you put it on the machine, it's inside out now. When it goes on here, the teeth are going to be cutting backwards. I've seen people do that. That's because it's just not very smart, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it's pretty easy to turn it inside out. And hopefully you can see me do this here. I'm going to hold this way with my hand. And I'm going to hold it right like that. And I'm going to go down. And just, if you look at my shoe, nice new shoes actually. But what I'm going to do is I'll show you guys. I'll twist it like this. I'll twist it twice. And we'll go. Good thing I didn't wreck my shoe. And now I have it right back in the circle again. Super, super easy trick for you guys. Okay, everybody, now I got it uncoiled again, and I got my teeth going so they're pointing down, which is the right way. It's not inside out. I'm going to go over how to put this thing on. It goes around here and into this crack, okay? You can put it on either wheel first. By the way, it jumps off a lot of times for you, and that's okay. And I kind of don't know if you can see me here, but here I am just stuffing it in this little crack. And I was nice enough to sweep some more of this dirt out of the inside. This wheel here up high, this thing pulls up to tighten. Really simple. And but I'm going to go ahead and put it on the bottom here. And this is a really old school tool. It does have some guides, and I'll show you a little bit more about the guides. But we just put it on there. And the thing about these wheels is they're round in the center, which means they're higher. They have a higher shape because the blade always tries to find the top. And then we go ahead and we tighten down. This is actually a backwards thread here. We're tightening down, which is pulling up on here. Is it a backwards thread? I don't know. Anyways, the wrong thing is tightening down is pulling up. And it's starting to get tight, okay? But when I get a little pressure on there, I'm not going to tighten it really tight. I'm going to spin it real lightly by hand. Sometimes it's going to fling off there because it's not on there quite right. But it's looking like we've got it. Okay, we've got it on there, folks. Well, now we're going to tighten it a little bit more. And we're not going to tighten it so bloody tight that it's like singing tight. But it's important that it's pretty tight. Okay. Now, it'll break if it's too tight. But it's on there pretty tight. Mind coming in a little closer here. What you're going to do is there's a little door on here, and that little door, we open that so that we can get in there. We come around, there's guides here. Now, there's a wheel on the back, and I'm quite sure this thing's not set up very good. If it's not set up very good, what's going to happen is it's going to wear all the teeth off there, and that thing is going to be dull like overnight. It's not too bad, so we're going to go ahead and cut a couple things. But, you know, maybe I'm going to show somebody in our maintenance department how to really do that right. There's a guide here, and there's another guide down low right underneath our table. And, you know, not everybody has to understand everything about the guide. But if you ever see it making a spark, what happens is if it makes a spark, it means that the teeth is hitting the metal roller, and it's going to wear the blade out like immediately. One more thing when you ever do change a blade, these blades aren't that expensive, but real bummer when they're dull, and it's a bummer when we run out of them. So I like to put on here when it was last changed and write on it with a Sharpie. That way we know how many blades we're going through. And there's one on here on 10, 10, 18, which is me. And there's another one here on 10, 19, 18 with nobody's initial. And then one, okay, well, what happened after that? Well, there's a little bit of a trail of when they're getting put on here. And I don't believe they've been written down every time. If purchasing worked together with maintenance stuff, we would know. And if you change it on a regular basis, it means it's not set up right. Really simple to set it up right. And then we all have a nice sharp tool here. I like clean tools, I like sharp tools. You guys know that. Okay, we can of course cut any sort of flat plates. We can cut radiuses real nice. And this thing actually works surprisingly well. We can cut real little things. By the way, I like to keep a trash bucket, a scrap bucket beside it so we can put the scraps in there so they're not on the floor. You guys know that I like that. This is an example of a piece of channel here. This is a 3 by 1.5 inch channel, and it's less than 2 feet long. We're not going to cut that on the chop saw. And I'm going to cut that off at 8 inches long. maybe you guys have seen that I marked one mark at 8 inches. And I'm not going to go mark it forever because, you know, I don't like to mark things forever. I like to just go ahead and get it done. I'm going to show you how to, a little trick. Always get a trick of the day with me. I'm going to show you how to get that off there nice and square. It's going to be real simple. And I've got my safety glasses on, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take, when I turn this machine on, by the way, we got a green button for on and a red for off, and I'd appreciate it if you turn it off when you're done with it. Sometimes I walk by here and it's running. I'm going like W2F. What would you think? Make sure to turn it off. Really simple. But turn it on. A little bit of wax on it. Doesn't take a lot. And when we come in here, I'm going to tell you, it's like, hey, why don't we do this? And maybe I'll put this mark also on the top so we can even see it a little bit here. I've marked that at 8 inches. I want to cut a piece off at 8 inches. I'm going to roll it up so I can see it. I'm going to push it in here. And I've set the guide. So that it was high enough, but not any extra high. We now have a line across here without me marking that all the way across. And that's going to be square. It's going to be square if the table was square. And I just showed you that it's a little bit out. That's because somebody didn't have it set up right. But now when I cut that off of here, it takes us a minute to go through that thicker bit. And then now I have a line to follow across. And it cuts off there just in a couple of seconds. Not dangerous. Beautiful cut. This machine will cut anything aluminum or wood. Got wood on it, please put more wax on it because aluminum wants wax and the wood would take the wax away. Don't cut any steel. Don't cut anything else like that because the blade is an aluminum blade. It's a fairly coarse blade. This is a random scrap of junk here. It'll cut it really quite quickly, but don't ram it in there. Just push it in there nice and gradual. Cuts it like nothing. Cuts it like butter. You can cut it down this way. One of the things about it is it doesn't cut a straight edge, and I didn't try very hard to cut a straight edge. It's not what we cut straight lines with. I mean, we can, but it'll have a tendency to wander a bit. It's for cutting curves and sort of small and delicate pieces. Okay, everyone, it's a real simple thing. You can cut any type of extrusion, pipe, round bar. You can cut flat bar. You can cut channel. You can cut angle. You can cut anything you want. You can cut pieces with scabs of junk on them. You can cut flat plates. I mean, cut anything. But one of the things we never do is we never want to cut it like unsupported. We're trying to cut it on an angle. We're trying to cut it like this or something. And there are people, I see people doing stuff like this. They're going, whoa, 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 don't do that. That's like not a good idea at all. It needs to be down flat. And if it goes, okay, we need an angle on it, well, then we just need to fold it up another way. So, you know, don't cut anything that's not supported. By the way, there's another thing when we get on to the welding class, and we can cut the welding tips. Those are made of copper, and we put a little fresh wax in there. We can cut the welding tips so we can save our tips a little bit. But I'm going to go over that in the welding class. But that's about all we do with this bandsaw. Just wanted to make sure you guys understood. By supported, I mean it needs to be down on the table. This wheel here winds this up and down, and it's actually got a stiffener on that. That's actually set a little tighter than it needs to be. And this goes up and down really simple, okay? Now, once again, I'm repeating myself, but I don't want you to be using it where it's really high like that. That's really not smart. We want to be down as close as we can to our work, okay? We want to be just a little bit above it. If you want to snug it, there's a little snugging nut there, but I move it up and down a lot when I use it, and I like to leave that relatively loose. Something else to know here is there's this nice little center in here, and nothing gets worn out over time. You can replace it. It's only worth just a few dollars. Another thing is when we're pushing anything in there, let's go ahead and let's not be pushing something in here. Don't, open any parts of your fan. You keep your hands away from it, out towards the edges. Don't ever get in front of anything you're cutting. I mean, it's obvious, but sometimes I see people using it where it's not safe, and I don't like when people are not safe. So everybody, I guess this might actually work out to be one of my shortest videos ever, because this machine is not complicated. Once again, there's a couple of little simple maintenance items that are really going to make it work better, and it's a great little machine. They're not very expensive. I think we should have more of them. And sometimes it's even nice to have a bigger one with a wider blade and more horsepower if you're cutting some stuff. And sometimes I even like a little tiny one, and I'll take like a half-height one and I'll put it up right where I'm working, right in the back deck of a boat. And, you know, it's a simple little tool, but it works really good. Usually, the manufacturers will tell you the blade length. I believe this one has a 13-foot blade. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. I think that'd be a 156-inch blade. It's really something close to that. And I usually, whatever the machine is, I actually write the blade length and the type inside of it with a Sharpie. And that way, when my purchasing people want to order another one, it's just written right there. It's going to help us a lot. Keep this thing in good repair. Let's get a couple more of these things. Bandsaw's easy, folks. Don't be cutting any steel. Don't be messing it up. Don't be letting it spark and wreck the guides. It's a cool little tool. We can use it. It'll be really helpful for us. Thanks for watching.